So we're in season 1 of Marvel Rivals, and I just wanted to make a quick video giving a tip on every single hero in this game. I'm going to start with the Hulk real quick. It's going to be called one tip. Maybe I'll give you like 2 to 3. So his shift, his bubble can actually work on any teammates, and it charges up ult. So if they hit the bubbles, your ult will charge. And when the Hulk is in ult, he gets his right click infinitely, and it does half a health bar. You could stagger really well with him, so you use your E on them and then just leave him for a bit, and then you can just kill him off. Just remember, you can stagger really strongly with the Hulk. So next I will go to Doctor Strange. So for Strange, you want to make sure you're using his melee a lot. So shoot melee, shield, or shoot shield, shoot shield. So make sure you're meleeing and make sure you're using your shield like that. You should never have your shield always up unless you're going against like a Hawkeye or something, you're trying to protect your team. But like, shoot shield, shoot shield. Next, I will go to Captain America. I actually am not that proficient with Cap, but all I will say is that his ultimate works like a Mantis ult in the sense of where you will shield any teammate who is... Okay, it doesn't show me their health bars, but right now they're receiving shields. Captain America has a support ult for some reason, so just keep that in mind. Groot, make sure this wall is in a place where they can't shoot it. Anytime that you do damage next to the wall, or one of your teammates does damage next to the wall, you see on the left it's glowing up, you get bonus health. So you see I'm at 1000 HP right now, and it maxes out at 1100 HP. These little walls attack, all of them will hit. So if you surround somebody with 3 walls, which I don't know how often that will happen, they just die. Now on to Venom. You want to swing around, you know what I'm saying, land on their back line, right click, just hit them a little bit because this right click slows. So with Venom you can be very reckless. So the least health Venom has, the more he will gain from his E. As you see, I got about 1000 HP, give or take. So his ultimate actually works. You will gain bonus health from this based on how much health they are missing. So as for Magneto, try not to bubble yourself because you have this shield. So you have a Magik, a Storm, somebody that's aerial, or somebody that's diving. You want to put bubble on them most of the time. Also make sure you're using your ult on supports. So whenever Cloak ults, you want to ult her. Whenever Luna ults, you want to ult her. Let's move on to Thor. Out of every single tank, Thor is actually the strongest in 1v1s. Try to single out targets, push people out of support ults as well because he has this little push ability right here. This ability right here that makes you do a lot of damage, so you're very strong in 1v1s. Try to get ones and try to knock people out of support ult. So for Penny's actually very great for any sort of dive. If you're going against Panther, Magik, Psylocke, Wolverine, you want to play Penny. Put your shift down, obviously, in spots where it can't be broken. Spawns mines that just kind of, as you see, just kind of hit anybody who's in it, and it also heals you and it grants you movement speed. And you want to put mines on your supports, so make sure you put a bunch of mines on your supports and tell your supports to play around the mines, so if they get dove by a Black Panther, a Magik, or anything, they will take some sort of damage, whereas the supports will be able to actually kill them off. Okay, so now we're on to the DPS role. Punisher is around probably top 3 in terms of how fast I built my ult. There's 2 reasons for this. One is the Raccoon team up, so this is how fast he charges ult. Always going to be able to shoot. So like, just always shooting. They're obviously not going to be standing still, but I built 50% ult in like, I don't know, maybe like 10 seconds, however long rocket boost lasts. So just keep that in mind. You're going against like a Groot, a Peni, something like that you can just melt. And then his ult, obviously very powerful, one of the strongest DPS ults in the game. So contrary to popular belief, because even in top 500 I see this a lot, I see a lot of people try to use the rocket boost on turret or his ult. It does not work with the turret or the ult, by the way, guys. Okay, so for Storm is very broken right now because she just received like 4 separate buffs. So for Storm, what I'd say is make sure that you're using the right form. If you're trying to get to the point, use the speed one. If you're trying to fight, just use the damage one. Her right click pierces and it's unlimited range. So it's like a hit scan version of her auto attack. You get that every 8 seconds and it helps build ult a lot. Like, look at this. Boom. That's like 6% ult just off one right click. And then this ability right here, you want to make sure you use this ability at the right times. That's how many enemies will get hit by my lightning strikes if I use the ability at that moment. Do not use this ability if it's under 2. As you can see, it's a 15-second cooldown, so you don't want to just spam this ability. And it helps build up ult because you're hitting every single person in your circle. So Storm right now is the fastest character to build her ult. Hawkeye did receive a little mini nerf where he can't charge from as far anymore. His damage is a little bit lower, I think like 5%. You don't have to be showing yourself to charge. As long as you have a wall and there's somebody on the right side of it, you can charge behind cover. Make sure you use the deflect, make sure you use this when they're in groups, and make sure you use this shift whenever you're getting dove. For Hela, it's very straightforward. You want to try to get a visual on their backline or their healers, and you want to flank a lot. You don't want to play in the front line with Hela. Usually I would kill 1 and just get out, because as long as you get a support, the fight's almost basically already won. Or you can kill 3 if you're just feeling like the actual goddess of fucking death. So with Panther, the thing is, people think you just kind of go in with Panther and you just do that every single time. That's not how it works. So you want to try to set up, you like find an angle, throw a spear, and then you wait a little bit because that mark stays for a while when you get the mark. Like I could go in right now and my spear will come back in time. and then I have another third spear. See? And then I kick, dash again, and then you would ult here. Alright, for Magik, as you guys know, I'm a pretty proficient Magik, I'd say myself. Honestly, just watch my top 500 Magik guide. But I think the main thing you want to know on Magik for real is just this combo right here. That's about it. Make sure you're using her right clicks in the right timings. Make sure you're positioned in the right spots. Magik is very versatile, so you need to be like knowing when to be fighting tanks, when to be fighting backline, when to be fighting DPS. Moon Knight is actually the second character that is the fastest in building his ult. I actually learned this from one of the comments. His onks actually pull you to them. So when you drop an onk, it will pull you to the onk. So you will try to assassinate people with that. Just throw it behind people, boom. If you have a Groot, this would be beautiful. Your Groot ults and then you ult, and that's just like the greatest combo in the game right now. Your F on the floor, it sends you up flying. So you want to drop on, shoot it, right click, shoot again. Alright, for Squirrel Girl, I'll say her ult actually just got buffed, so she's actually a lot more viable now. Just try to spam. She plays like Junkrat, so just play how you would play Junkrat. Just spam chokes. E actually makes it so any ability she wants she can use twice. So boom, I could throw that once, and then boom, I could throw it again. But it will actually cancel that out, so I'll just keep that in mind. But her ult will track now. Okay, so as you see, the ult actually does track now. It'll go to the next person now, boom, and then it'll go, yep. If you actually want to play Black Widow, what I'd say is try to go for body shots a lot more. Her ult actually is a lot better than a lot of people think. You can actually charge up this ult, the gun, you see. When the gun stops moving, that's when it's fully charged. It does like half a health bar, and then you could shoot them because this thing slows. Iron Man, the most broken character from last season. I wouldn't say he's more powerful than Storm now, but what I'd say is if you don't have a Hulk, you might want to try playing somebody else because he's just very powerful with Hulk. He's like kind of okay without him. He's actually very good against dive though. So if you're playing into dive, you can just fly in the air and just kind of beam down on them. For Spider-Man, just make sure you have the combos down because that's like the main thing about Spider-Man. It's just combos. So there is actually something that I want to talk about with Spider-Man that I actually found out on accident. So when you web somebody up and you press the E button, usually it would pull you to them, but you can actually set them to have separate key binding. So you can set the go over here targeting to be on E, and then your other ability to be on the other one. Scarlet Witch, what I'd say is make sure you're using her right click because her right click actually does like a ton of damage. You charge it up with the left click. So when you don't have right clicks, you want to charge it up with the left click. Make sure you're using this bubble. It stuns anybody who's in it. Every like, what is that? Like every second they'll get stunned. Scarlet Witch is actually like really good for dive. If you're playing against a Panther or Magik, anything like that, you can just go invincible when they go on you, and you can just hold left click on them and just drain them off. So Bucky's actually very dominant right now in top 500. There's a lot of people playing him because he got a couple of buffs. His E can actually knock down flying targets. His pull actually goes through people. So if they're grouped up, you can actually pull like 2 of them. Bucky's also very good for dive characters, and honestly probably the only DPS that has no counter in the game. So Bucky's combo is you want to pull them in, shoot them in the head, punch, and then shoot them again if they're still alive for some reason. Alright, so for Starlord, build up your ult. His ult is very powerful. Obviously it's fucking aimbot, and his right clicks actually do reload his guns, so make sure you're using the right clicks. You can also fly in this. You could use shift and then his E, and you can fly in the E. You can also reload while you're flying. Make sure you're throwing the squids in spots that are harder. You can stick them on walls or roofs. As you can see, I could put it there, and then the right click makes it so they shoot faster. And you can burn dive characters very quickly if they try to dive you. Just put 2 turrets down, boom, right click the person, they die almost instantaneously. This does splash damage, so you can aim it at the floor. Do less damage, but you'll be more likely to hit it, so it's worth the trade-off in my opinion. So for Psylocke, so you want to shoot, right click, shoot again, dash. Honestly, you don't even have to shoot a second time if you're against 250s. It would shoot, right click, melee, dash. So your main objective with Wolverine is getting the tanks. So you want to find a tank, get behind them, shift, boom, kidnap them to your team, and then just kill them. So Wolverine actually has a passive where if you go down to 0 HP, you will actually get a shield. You see 270 health, and now if I get a kill in this time, or if I just stay alive during that time, it'll become your permanent health. Alright, so for Iron Fist, what I'd say is you get in the back line, you hold right click, you block shit. So whenever you block something, you do more damage with your left click. The only character in the game that's not a support that has an on-demand heal, so make sure you're using it. Now we're on to Mr. Fantastic, the newest character in the game. What I'd say is make sure you're whipping this thing, because you can whip it like that and make it hit like a lot more targets at once, increasing your damage output, because even if you don't whip it, it'll still take the same amount of time to come back. And make sure you're using this ability, because this ability gives you 30 charge for the thingy, and you can also shield teammates with it. You get to shield, and now you have 900 HP, and you're a fucking monster. Basically, Mr. Fantastic is supposed to play like a second tank. This ability right here, where you cannot hit him, he's literally invincible, and then he launches back like a percentage of the amount of damage you just took. So you can also do this. You go right click, left click, and then boom, they bounce together. This is very good for like combinations if you're trying to like Iron Man ult or anything like that. Alright, so now we're on to the support. supports for Rocket, honestly, if you see a Rocket one trick in your lobby, you're gonna have to play support. You're gonna have to third support. If you want to win, just listen to me, guys. Third support if you have a Rocket on your team. This character, yeah, he heals a lot, AoE healing, and it's like constant, but it's super slow. Like you can see, like that's super slow. Like they'll die if they're getting hit by like anything that's like actually outputting a decent amount of damage. His kit's alright. He has a respawner, and then his ult, probably the worst support ult in the game, besides maybe Jeff's because it's very inconsistent. So the main good thing about Rocket is that he's really hard to kill. So make sure you're not dying on Rocket. You can just climb on walls, you can dash around. He's very small, so he's very hard to kill. Mantis, there's only one thing that I'd say. Just make sure you're not spamming your leaves. Make sure you always have a leaf available because you're not the main healer, you're the off healer. You don't always have to keep people at like 100 HP. So Mantis actually gets a leaf back whenever she gets a headshot. So for Loki, what I'd say is make sure you're saving your lamps or your shift, whatever you want to call them, your crystals, for a dive. Loki's very anti-dive. You can boom, just put down shift, and now you can't die in this. They have to break all 3 of these crystals. It's like actually really good at output healing. It's just very difficult to be consistent with him. If you're playing with a flying DPS on your team, you might want to swap though, because you're not going to be able to hit flying targets that often with projectile healing. Make sure you use your ult on Luna, Mantis, Cloak and Dagger, or Sue. You don't want to use it on DPS ults. You don't want to use it on tank ults, unless you want to copy Magneto to kill a Cloak and Dagger ult. For what I'd say for Adam is the same thing as Mantis. He's kind of an off healer, so you want to make sure you're timing your heals because they're obviously charges. You only have 2 charges every like what, 8 seconds, 7 seconds. So make sure you're timing these only when it's absolutely essential, and use your shift whenever you're getting dove or you're getting an ult. If Punisher's ulting, you want to use shift. So for Luna, she actually builds up her ult very quick. Make sure you're using her shift every time it comes up. Do not wait. Make sure you have your guard on somebody that's hard to hit or somebody that's just like in a spot where you can't see them. So like if you have a Black Panther, Magik, Storm, Starlord, Iron Man, somebody that's like high in the sky or just like always on their flank, make sure you put the mark on them. Do not put it on your tanks. Do not put it on your other support. The mark should always be on a DPS. So for CND, she actually received the buff where now she dashes 4 times in her ult. You can stack this 2 times. That's good enough to survive like a Punisher ult. So this is the most healing output in the game because each one of these lines heals I think 220 a second. So now this is the most important part. So this screen ability actually makes it so they receive more healing from you and the other healer, just healing in general, whenever like they're taking a lot of damage. So they're blind and they take more damage. So you want to maybe like boom boom boom, swap, and then you throw the screen out and then you swap back, or you can do some damage if your tanks are good. He's probably the fastest support ult builder in the game. Supports are probably the fastest overall in general. Okay, so now we're on Sue. Sue just came out. When you're getting dove, make sure you're actually turning invisible, jumping away and stuff. If you're getting dove by Venom, you actually probably won't be able to turn invisible because you could take any sort of damage. It will actually get canceled out. Make sure you're also using your shield a lot. I see a lot of Sue's not using her shield at all, which is very good because it shields and it heals anybody who's behind the shield. Make sure you're using this pool, and then make sure you're using her shift. Just make sure you're using her abilities is what I'd say. I don't see a lot of people using all of her abilities, which is kind of crazy because she has like 10-second cooldown on all her abilities. Her ult comes up very quickly, but it only lasts 8 seconds. It's shorter than CND and it's shorter than Luna, so just keep that in mind. Now for Jeff the Land Shark, make sure you're throwing your bubbles down. These give movement speed as well, as you can see. What people do in high elo is they'll flank with Jeff. Basically can't kill him when he's in this. He does a lot of damage. Even if you don't get a kill, just get him weak, get out. Just make sure you're staying alive. That's what matters. For his ult, it's very inconsistent ult, but just try to like one of the only ults in the game where you can actually win an entire fight by yourself. I would say use it whenever it comes up because honestly it's very inconsistent. That's every single tip for every single character in Marvel Rivals. Let me know what you guys want to see next. Let me know if there's any other tips that I missed out on that you guys know about. Have a great day.